Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the FPL Affairs podcast, a podcast that strips back to lay bare our season-long love affair with FPL. In the second of our Game Week 7 Unwrapped videos, Talking Points, I'm joined by FPL Affairs Dove and Lion to discuss various talking points from the latest round of fixtures. These include the Saka Gyökeres debate, West Ham under Nuno, ranking Chelsea assets, and if we're done with Liverpool. I also give an insight into whether Newcastle players are going under the radar. Before we get started, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel for all of our content, and click that bell to be notified each time we release something new. Anyway, enough of my small talk. Let's get cracking.
And there's Mo Salah. There goes Haaland. He's on his way again. He's hungry. He's scored. Ice cold precision from Palmer. Oh, Saka! That is a diamond of a goal.
Greetings viewers to our Talking Points video for this week with me, Matt, aka the FPL Affairs Magpie, and joining me still from Malaysia is the FPL Affairs Dove, Mohammed himself, and boss man Lewis, aka the FPL Affairs Lion. Let's get to our talking points. I think the biggest talking point, really, which both of you can have your say on with owners and so on, because actually I think none of us have got Saka, is Saka or Gyokeres. Both, one or the other, or if you've got Gyokeres, do you switch to Saka? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts, gents? Lewis, you're the Arsenal fan, so do you want to go first, or let the non-Arsenal fan, let the Liverpool fan go first?
Want to hear what Mohammed has to say?
Okay, go for it.
Well, if I
Saka
am
or
on
Gyökeres?
if I am on a wild card, I probably will go for Saka. He's definitely the main man, and he got penalty and set piece on him. But on the plus side, Gyökeres is a little bit cheaper, and Arsenal do have a great fixture ahead. And although Gyökeres is not on set piece, he could probably can score. But if I have to choose, I would definitely go with Saka.
So you've like me, you've got Gyökeres. So the impression I'm getting from you is you're just gonna stick with him.
Yes, I will stay with him.
And you said you're wild carded maybe around about game week 12, 13?
Yes, at that time.
Yeah.
At that time, probably I will pile up Man City, Liverpool, Bournemouth, and so on. Because Arsenal fixtures is going to be a little bit tough at that time. But we shall see.
Right, Arsenal man.
Yeah, I mean, I think like Mohammed says, I think if you have Gyökeres, and you're not wild carding, I don't think you go to the bother of switching the, it's going to be like a two move transfer, isn't it? To go from Gyökeres to Saka. My advice would be to own both. I don't see Gyökeres losing his place anytime soon. With Madueke's injury, that does obviously boost Saka's minutes quite good. So, Saka for the next 5 to 6 is looking like a really good pick. The only thing I would say is when Arsenal get another penalty, I would not be surprised to see him give this one to Gyökeres.
That was one of the things I was very much asking you because loads of people, and whether that content creators, social media, whatever, all saying, "Oh, Saka's on penalties for Arsenal. Let's jump off Gyökeres and to Saka." Which
I don't think it's not as black and white as that. It really isn't. It's
because wasn't it like his 200th Premier League appearance at the weekend, and he was 99 goal involvements or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I think what I was going to say was I think there's a few factors. Like it could be depending on what the scoreline is. It could depend on who won the penalty. Like the one at Newcastle, I was pretty sure that Gyökeres was going to get up and take that, and I think Saka was about to hand him the ball because I think Gyökeres won the penalty. I think he'd scored one a couple. They can both take very good penalties, so it's not like if we're going to have more chance of missing if Gyökeres. I think they're both 9 out of 10 scoring penalty takers, in my opinion. So I don't think it's going to weaken us which one takes it. I think they may well share them around, which from an FPL point of view isn't good for managers because you want to know that you're picking a player that takes penalties. So
Which is why
that
if
does
you've
make it
got
tricky for both. But I wouldn't be surprised to see the next one handed to Gyökeres personally, but that's not for definite. Um, I would try and get both. If you're having to get just one, maybe just Saka I would edge with now, just because of the Madueke thing. But yeah, I mean, from week to week, I wouldn't be surprised if Saka outscores in 1 week and Gyökeres outscores him. He had a massive goal record in Portugal, and I know he's in England now. It's not quite as easy, but he will score goals. Like that's a fact. He will score goals. He's getting in positions. They'll give him a penalty, especially if we're already winning a game comfortably, he'll take a penalty. So yeah, no need to get off Gyökeres anytime soon. Matt, are you okay? You just going for a walk or?
Taking a breather.
Um, how much is Saka, Mohammed? Do you know his price at the moment,
I
roughly?
think it's in. I have my. His right now is 9.9 million.
9.9.
9.9.
And he's just had a price rise as well, hasn't he?
Yes, yes.
He had one like yesterday or day before, so he will probably keep going up. Um, yeah,
It's only
I
zero
think
point
they're
0.8
both.
difference with Gyokeres.
Yeah. Um, and also like forwards, there's not loads of forwards that are, João
There's not
Pedro
a lot
looked good.
of. I mean, right now, a lot of off form with Pedro, Mateta not
Mm.
scoring goals.
Even Mateta's not looking a good option now because
Yes.
Nketiah has come back and his minutes are shorter.
So
Um,
we kind of have a shortage in forwards, and Gyokeres
yeah,
could fill in that in.
Yeah, sorry about that. Had in the kitchen and there were a couple of things that the family had forgotten, so I had to pass those off. So apologies for randomly up
no
and
problem at all.
disappearing
No
briefly.
problem at all.
We're gonna,
We
I
got
think,
on.
jump into number two.
Yeah,
Um, that's a good point to raise. So I actually, as things stand, I will be having two West Ham on my wild card game week 8 because they have a very good run of fixtures, and I expect to see some turn in form from West Ham. Not that they'll beat everybody, but I do expect them to pick up 2 or 3 wins in the next 5 or 6.
yeah, yeah. I think as soon as
What do
Nuno
you
was
guys
announced
think?
as their manager, it was like right, West Ham players on the short on the watch list.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't know
Straight
about
away.
defence though. Like, obviously, he is known as being a defensively astute manager, so you would be
Agree.
inclined to think, well, okay, well maybe we go for a West Ham defender, whether that's Kilman or Mavropanos for the Defcons, or whether you think Juve's the best option because of his attacking threat. Um, Somebody made a good point the other day, though. It's like as a defender, you get 3 points for an assist, right? So Juve will get three. So Defcons, which are much more achievable on a game-to-game basis, you're just better off just looking at centre backs these days, like this season, aren't you? I think
Mm,
the season of the wing back over the years, it's been Trent, it's been Trippier, it's been Robertson. Now you're looking at Tarkowski, you're looking at Senesi, you're looking at Gabriel. Like it seems to be the turn has gone from fullbacks to centre backs, and I can see why. So yeah, I would possibly go for Kilman maybe if I was going for a defender. Just as another spoiler, so the two West Ham that I have in my wildcard draft is Bowen and Paqueta as things stand. So I
Mm.
might well end up with those two guys on the next
mm.
over the next 5 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, Paqueta's on my one of the ones on mine, depending how I adjust my funds. But Mohammed, what do you think about what are your thoughts on West Ham and are they entering your mind in transfers, R's and
I
R's?
think just like Lewis said, Nuno is a bit of the defensive-minded manager. We could definitely see an improvement across the 2 games that he has been in charge. Well, for me, I think it's still a little bit early. I would love to actually watch more, but I think I will have a close eye on their defense. Probably Kilman for his defensive contribution. He got I think he got a DEFCON in Nuno first game against Everton, and only he got 9 DEFCON, just one shy of that bonus point against Arsenal. So that is a player
Yeah.
that I'm looking in. But right now, I will not be looking to transfer any of the player.
Mm.
Yeah, I think it's only if you're on wild card, you probably consider them. If you're already have a good team, you don't really need to be looking at West Ham players, to be
Yes.
honest. But
Yeah, defensively, I think there's a lot more than five
Okay.
players that you'd consider ahead of
yeah,
West Ham defence.
yeah.
And midfield, I think really it comes down to midfield. It's only really Paqueta you largely consider, and Bowen for obvious reasons um as the forward.
Do you know what it is after the game week that just went and seeing the amount of players that
Lewis, I think you're frozen
Yes.
briefly.
You're
Gordon,
frozen.
Watkins, my yes, my internet's not great, but it should catch up in a minute. Yeah, it's just basically it's a minutes thing, and now I'm looking at Bowen and I'm looking at Paqueta, and I'm thinking those guys are going to play 90 minutes every week for Nuno. And I would much rather at this point have players that I know are going to start and I know that are going
Yeah,
to play 90 minutes. So that's what appeals to me extra about Bowen and Paqueta.
yeah. Moving on then, the Chelsea Liverpool fixture I decided to put up largely because of the way the result went. Fixture swing for Chelsea in the next, well, starting really next week. Um, and their assets, obviously, João Pedro's form and Liverpool. So, who started the last one? Who started on West Ham? Lewis, you started on West Ham, didn't you? So, Mohammed, what Chelsea assets have you got, and what are your thoughts on them going forward and sideways and backwards? And
I mean, right now I have Pedro. Definitely would love to keep him for their great upcoming fixture. And basically, Chelsea, as we can see on the screen, Caicedo, Enzo, and Pedro, and 3 different kind of players. Caicedo is a bit more defensive minded. Pedro is definitely an attacker, and Enzo is just like in between of them. And if I were to rank these 3 players, I think I will put Caicedo on top, and I am will be looking to transfer him in very cheap at 5.7 and occasionally attacking return with almost guaranteed DEFCON returns every game.
Yeah.
Second, definitely I think I'm gonna go with Pedro because there is not a lot of good attacking option right now apart from Haaland, and I think
mm,
Pedro will score some goals. And Enzo is, I will say, if you want to be differential, you can go with him, but I think it would be a smart choice to get Caicedo instead of him.
any other Chelsea assets that enter your thinking?
I think their defender probably Cucurella, I guess, for his
Mm.
attacking output.
But then with all their defensive injuries, um,
Yes,
does that put them more at a sort of
yes, I think
detrimental at risk of?
it will it will make them a little bit more vulnerable. And I think there is a lot of other defense option that you can get from other team. So right now, I will not be looking for their defender.
Yeah, I don't think Chelsea defenders are very high on the
Yes, I agree
list
with
of
it.
yeah, because like as Mohammed says, I think Gyökeres is the only one you would consider. But he's expensive. So
And at his price
um
point, you'd go Gabriel over
Yes,
him at the moment.
exactly
yeah,
you'd go Arsenal,
exactly.
you'd go Man City, well, maybe not Man City, but yeah, you definitely look elsewhere. Um I will I agree with that order. However, on my wild card, I currently have Enzo in the draft, and again, that is of the mindset of thinking about 90-minute players. I think I'm really going to go strong on that, and not that
Mm.
Caicedo isn't obviously, but Pedro definitely isn't 90-minute man anymore. And we've seen that he's quite happy. Like, at the end of the day, at the weekend, Pedro came off. Geary came on for the last 20 minutes and they went on to win the game and had loads of chances. So I would not be surprised to see that happen again. Um, Enzo, the reason I've got Enzo is because of the Palmer injury. I'm not even convinced he'll be back for the first couple of games after the international break. I like the fact that Enzo is the captain. He will play. He'll be a 90-minute man. He is quite attacking this season. I've noticed. Like he was always for me. Like, I always thought of him as like a holding midfielder, but over the last season, end of last season, this season, he's really kind of a forward in attacking positions a lot. You saw at the weekend he hit the post again. I think the week before he scored or hit the post, and he takes penalties now that Palmer's not in the team. So yeah, I don't mind Enzo as a pick at all, and he might well be on my wild card.
Um, in some way, I think with the ranking wise, and this is where players as managers, this depends on kind of their approach really. I think Caicedo's the safe option in terms of
Yeah.
the likelihood of picking up DEFCON most games. Chipping in with the occasional goal, which he's actually got 3 this season, which I think is more than he's got over the last couple of years combined.
Which isn't going to
Um,
keep up, is it?
yeah,
Still,
but so he doesn't have the potential high ceiling, so to speak, as
yeah.
Enzo could, because Enzo certainly playing number 10, and if he's captain, even when Palmer's back, might Enzo call rank and be a greedy so and so and say, no, I'm having the
Quite
penalties.
quite possibly. Wouldn't put it past him.
Um, and João Pedro with his, yes, Chelsea have had their assists, but it's like one shot on target or one shot on goal in the in 4 games.
Yeah.
Worth holding on to, getting rid of.
I don't think he's really a number 9. That's like he's played there. He played there for Brighton. He was okay. I don't think he is an out and out striker. I think he's good in number 10. He can play off either side. But yeah, he hasn't looked like scoring either, really, has he? The last few games.
Mm. Is he on your mind? You actually, Mohammed, you said you were likely to keep him because of the fixtures, didn't you?
Yes, yes. I mean, there is not a lot of, I mean, not a lot of good option in forward region,
Mm.
and with the good upcoming picture, I think it's a wise move to just keep him and hopefully score some goals and use the other transfers on other players that I think are more important to address.
Yeah.
On the flip side of that fixture, um, Liverpool
Hmm.
losing in stoppage time, which is,
2 games in a row, stoppage time
mm,
again.
I'll say it's a
Yeah.
nice change, but I'm sure that I'm I'm sure that the Liverpool fans in the admin um, team, all 2, 3 of them or so, um, will disagree. But Lewis, you've got Gakpo, right? Am I
Hmm.
remembering that
Hmm.
correctly?
Yeah.
Is he still in your what? Is he or any other? Oh, mind you, actually, my mind's just gone back. You said at the moment your wildcard draft has got Salah in as well as Haaland.
Yeah.
Is that is
So I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think I'm switching from Gakpo to Salah in the wildcard draft. Because I found a draft that I like that has Haaland and Salah in it.
mm,
So I'd be more than happy to switch from Gakpo to Salah. I think Liverpool are due a penalty or two. They're playing Man United at home next. They're going to be on the attack. Yes, he hasn't looked great, but he hasn't looked great in the past and then still delivered goals and assists,
mm.
things in the last minute. So I think now would be quite a smart time to get on Salah. Whether or not that comes to bite me in the arse or not, we'll see. But yeah, I think I've got a
Bite you on
feeling
the
that now
Arsenal.
bite me on the Arsenal, yes. And the fact that I'm able to get Salah and Haaland in be enough for me to convince me to go that way. So yeah, but Liverpool defenders, you wouldn't go anywhere near them. Obviously, if you've got Van Dijk, he's probably a hold. Obviously, if you have spare transfers or you can afford to get to Gabriel or something like that, then you probably get off Van Dijk, but you wouldn't go anywhere near any other defender they have. You wouldn't get the goalkeeper. Gravenberch went up in price the other night. I'm not sure why that happened because why would anyone want him in FPL, to be honest? But yeah, it's just going to be Salah, isn't it? Really, the strikers are alternating. FTK Isaac, that could be any one of them either week, so they're an avoid. Salah's the only guy that's going to play 90 every week. I think Chiesa and Gakpo are probably going to rotate for that left wing. There's a lot of calls from Liverpool fans for Chiesa to get more minutes, so
Mm.
Salah only, I feel.
Yeah, and you, Madam Mohammed, have you got any Liverpool left in your squad without me flicking back through the slides?
Well, I am a Liverpool fan, but somehow this game week I sold the only Liverpool player I have, Ekitike from Gyökeres, because I was afraid I'm not quite sure who's gonna start, and I was right. Isak start against Chelsea, and I think for Ekitike owner that's going to be a big problem because of the rotation. Usually for Liverpool, if we see for the couple of seasons back, uh, we are hope not a lot of rotation, but right now it's different. We shall see a lot of rotation. And I think I'm absolutely quite disappointed with Liverpool, and not just for the past two game week. I think if we look back on game week one, there hasn't been any convincing win for Liverpool. A lot of last minute goal, and right now we see the crack start to opening up. Salah has been definitely a disappointment. Only one assist for the last three games, but we all know Salah. He can bounce back, and I
Mm.
think for Salah owner, if I have Salah, I will not be in a hurry to sell him because after this, he will play his favorite opponents, Manchester United. So I was hoping he will bounce back. Other than that, the defender is definitely a shambles,
Yeah,
very bad. Alisson has saved us a lot, and now he's gone. So the defense become more fragile. So I will not go
How
near
how
them.
how long's he out for? Has it been
I
confirmed?
think until the end of November.
So yeah, you've got your
Um,
backup. I'm not even going to try and sound his
you know,
name. I remember
nobody's really.
Newcastle tried to sign him from Valencia, I
Yeah.
think it was a couple of years ago.
So
Um,
basically, he will out until game week 13. It's very long.
mm,
yeah,
I mean,
very long.
Mohamed Ismail
Well,
is a good goalkeeper, but Alisson is just world class. He saved us in a numerous time, and without him, it's going to be very hard for us to keep a clean sheet.
mm,
yeah,
So I think if you want a Liverpool player, Salah is the only option there.
agreed. What about you, Matt? Have you got Liverpool? Are you selling or
um,
keeping?
I haven't I haven't got any.
Okay,
And one of the reasons I'd originally gone for Gyokeres as well, other than the fixtures, was um, he would be a little bit of a placeholder for Isak. Um, but I think I'm feeling less inclined to. I think I'm more likely to actually readjust the funds to get Saka and utilizing the Gyökeres possibly for that. Um, so then I'd be a bit more on a 3-5-2 um, option, but Liverpool defence not going there. Midfield, I did almost get Gravenberch in on wildcard because of the price and his popularity ish, or price was going to go up, um, but didn't in the end because there were others that I preferred. So certainly for now, um, I'm done with Liverpool, which is why I basically pretty much said those three. So
cool.
talking point number five, which I put in green, not cream.
Hmm.
Um, just final thoughts in if there was anything either of the two of you wanted to bring to the table that hasn't been um, mentioned.
But really, I would say obviously we're now on an international break, so just keep an eye on those games for FPL players, whether they pick up any knocks, whether they have good games or bad games. A lot of that's going to come into consideration when you pick your teams in 2 weeks' time or 12 days' time, whatever it is. So
Mm.
yeah,
Mohammed, anything that happened over the weekend that stood out to you that hasn't been mentioned at some point? Um,
I think people has put less attention to Newcastle asset. I think their defender could be a very well differential one. All of them are under 10%. The most is Pope at 9.4%, and then you got Burn at 7.9%. They have a good fixture. Walter Made, absolutely fantastic player. I think the only downside is that I don't think he will play 90 minutes in a lot of games. I mean,
no,
like
it- from yeah, speaking from the Newcastle expertise ish
yes,
kind of, um, Nick Pope's got the most clean sheets out of all the goalkeepers so far,
yes.
five clean sheets from 7 games,
And in
and
terms of
only
expected goal concede,
mm.
Newcastle is the best in the league.
mm,
What the
So I
XGC?
yeah, IGC. So
Okay,
it's kind of funny that they are not talk enough about the defense.
but we well, literally the only goals we've conceded in the league have been to what people would have said at the start of the season are the best two teams in the league. So we've conceded to
yeah,
Arsenal and to
And
Liverpool. We've
Liverpool.
kept clean sheets against everyone else.
yeah,
We haven't conceded away from home yet in any competition. So we're solid there.
yeah,
We've got decent selection for. We've got five decent centre backs. I think Botman and Chow are going to be our long term, provided we get them um, settled
Livramento's
and
out for
happy.
6 weeks, though, isn't he?
They've got
And
the
both of them are
potential.
under 2% actually.
They've got the potential to be our centre back pairing for years.
Okay,
Um, but speaking of Dan Burn popularity with Livramento out for 8 weeks ish,
Yes.
Burn is basically going to, I think, a combination of um, recent changes, explorations in formations of trying out 3-5-2 or 3-4-2-1 or however you want to play it, where there's been Chow, Botman, and Burn with Livramento dropping out, and how well Botman and Chow have been playing.
And Chelsea
Um,
has been actually superb.
Burn was the best for DEFCON, but then now he's got 8 weeks where he'll be playing left back, basically,
yeah,
for a chunk of that. Lewis Hall was due back from his ankle. He was being weaned in, but I heard the other day I think he's in the European fixture. Um, he tweaked his hamstring. So yeah, Dan Burn will be covering left back, which he can do. He can get assists from them like he did at the weekend. Um,
yeah,
I know Jack, who was my co-host on the podcast last season. He's wildcarding this week, and no, he wildcarded game week 7, and
yeah.
he included Anthony Gordon. Um, and what we can learn from him really is he's first choice left winger for us over Barnes. First choice penalty taker for us. But because of the Eddie Howe football, um, if they're available, you're going to look between 60 and 70 minutes. The two wingers will come off, whichever two are playing, and the opposite two will go on. So this weekend it was Gordon and Alanga coming off, replaced by Barnes and Murphy. Another
Yeah.
week um, it could be the opposite
Murphy
way
and
round.
yeah.
Um,
The reason I didn't go for Gordon even this week on that 1 week punt was because I saw that all four of your wingers are now available.
mm,
And the fact that Gordon played 90 minutes during the week away, wherever it was you were, Belgium or wherever.
yeah,
I did have a feeling he wouldn't play 90 this week, and I wouldn't have even been shocked to see him benched. Like, yes, he's definitely your best winger probably and first choice, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Barnes start instead of him in the odd game. So
Mm.
Yeah, Gordon's
Yeah.
a good pick. He'll be on penalties,
Mm.
but
But
I
if
don't feel comfortable picking a player like
yeah,
yeah.
on occasions when Barnes starts, Gordon will be coming on for 25
Mm,
minutes or half an hour at the end.
yeah,
That's, you know, he if he is benched for resting, he'll definitely come on at some point in the game and he'll definitely get a decent amount of minutes.
yeah.
He
Which he
won't
could
be
still
one
pick
that's
points up
brought
in. Yeah,
on. He won't be brought on at like 85 minutes or
no,
so. He would be given a lot
yeah,
longer than that. Um,
yeah. That's a fair point. And
Voltemada,
people always forget that you can get points off the bench. Of course you can. You know, if he comes on for
Yes,
20, 30 minutes and the defense is stretched, you know, Gordon can get points. So yeah. And what
yeah.
was it, Baltimade?
Um,
automatic.
Wissa's injury has had a setback. I haven't read too much about it. I've just seen the headlines. So um, that puts Voltemada's minutes up. And I did see on
Yeah.
social media claim that he's pulled out of the Germany international based on and the reason given was flu type symptoms or flu
So he's just
um,
going to rest for 2 weeks in Newcastle then.
which mine I'm taking it with a pinch of salt, not not a oh my word, what's happening?
Mm,
Because when he signed, he missed the deadline for the Leeds fixture, and he was off on international duty for Germany straight off. So the last international break, he didn't. I think he'd maybe had one training session with the team before
mm,
he flew out. And then it's been 3 games every week where he's either started or come off the bench. And with the 3 games every week, there's less time on the training pitch. So because there's no alternatives, well, Asula aside, to be fair, um, it's they're kind of adapting to him and him adapting to the style of play is
mm,
happening on the pitch rather than in training. So yeah, I think this 2 week break, he will benefit a lot more staying at Newcastle and having 2 weeks of just training, learning the familiarizing himself more with the how systems of play. Whichever players don't go on international duty, he'll obviously get the familiarity with them, and he'll get he'll be able to work on his fitness levels as well. So he'd be able to last for longer minutes because obviously the intensity of the Premier League. So yeah, I'm kind of certainly thinking about whether, and this is looking at the fixtures, whether to do um, Foden and Gyökeres out and bring in Saka and Voltemada. That's what I'll be pondering for 2 weeks. But then looking at the fixtures and thinking, well, 3 of those 4 players are away from home, and Foden's the one
yeah,
that's at home. So that'll be where I'm
tempting.
thinking about. There's my
Cool.
Newcastle ramble. Any responses to either of that, or shall we move on to how to get in touch?
Yeah, no, move on. It's been a good pod and have a nice break for international break. No stress for next weekend. And then,
Most
yeah,
most importantly, just be patient.
yeah,
Yeah. So getting in
definitely.
touch. The links are in various different places, and it's the same side as always. Gmail, lowercase, fplaffairs@gmail.com, no characters, etc. Handle on X is capitals FPL Affairs. Facebook, either search the groups for FPL Affairs or type the link that's in our YouTube
Yeah,
channel homepage description. It's got the Facebook link. And YouTube, and I say it every time I have recently, is if you search us on YouTube, the handle, if you're trying to type in the address, make sure you include the at symbol after the .com/. I panicked, and I say this again, I panicked after all of last season, start of this season. I was like, I can't find us, I can't find us. Why is it not working?
yeah.
And I hadn't put the at symbol in. Um,
Ah,
so
So you need to put that FPL affairs. Yeah,
yeah, so make sure you do it. It makes it easier to find until we're remotely near higher volume,
cool.
but I'm waffling. Um, so thank you for watching, everyone. This monumental episode shared between different spots in the UK and across the other side of the world in Malaysia. Mohammed, thank you for joining us at Ridiculous O'Clock. Hope it was worthwhile.
100%, definitely worth it.
Yeah,
You've
and
got Mohammed. You've got to every week that you're still top. You have to come on the podcast. Okay, that's the rule.
Okay, inshallah.
What good man.
yes, excellent. Final thoughts from anybody?
No, all good.
No, just keep patient after the international
Yes.
break and take a breather. Try to hide away from FPL for a while. Take some breathers, and I will try to persuade these people to, well, when I say these people, referring my admin colleagues, notably Kieran, to see whether he's actually got a date on the court case on my curse, him accusing me of cursing his FPL fortunes. But on that note, before we all start belly laughing at him, um, all that's left to say is keep your FPL affairs under wraps over the international break and until we return, and keep an eye out for our special. Oh, Zoom cut me off. How rude. Or maybe I just can't stop talking. Either way, don't forget to like and subscribe. And thank you so much to Lewis and Mohammed for joining me. And it's goodbye from me, and well, goodbye from them. Bye bye.